All right, 5:05. Yeah, today should be a pretty good one. I guess pretty short one. We'll see. I don't have a whole lot to go over because this week we have pretty exciting week. A lot of earnings, a lot of earnings, and a little bit of sprinkles of news, and then of course we're always on watch for big old President Trump. Exciting stuff though. This Monday here for us Canadians, anyways. I don't know how exciting. Depends. Our election, our federal election. So I don't know. Is that going to affect the market? Maybe. Maybe they'll talk about the auto tariffs and how the auto industry is like kind of, what's the word, dominated by us Canadians because most of your cars come from us. Right, most of the American cars that you guys want come from us. So let me go ahead and get this recording started. But yeah, 5:07. Give me maybe another 30 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I think this week is a fun one. Who is ready? Who's ready for this week? Who did very well last week and they're just kind of excited to open up the market again? I mean, market's already open, but decided to come back in and take control of your financial freedom. I definitely had a good week last week. I know some of you guys watched me perform, do some of the trades. Fairly good week. I had a ripper loss on that Tuesday, but aside from that Tuesday, we're here. We're doing okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone. This is a Quant Data Q&A Market Prep with your host, ABJ. We run these for you guys, for the community. That's where you can bring your questions, bring your questions, see how we navigate the market, talk about quant data, talk about the market, talk about trading in general. And yeah, every 5 p.m. PST, Sunday and Wednesday, we're here for you. I'm here for you. So yeah, so during these times, we're going to talk about the calendar, talk about some of the things we expect, and then I'll open up the floor later on for some questions. Again, I don't have that much to go over. I think the sentiment of the market should be pretty solid. It should be told by the earnings, and I think doesn't matter what happens intraday, everyone's just going to be primed for some of these earnings. So first of all, we'll go over the calendar. So what do we have? It's Forex Factory. Start using this one instead of investing.com. So Monday, we got a whole lot of nothing. So Monday having nothing is pretty good in terms of news. We don't really get anything until Tuesday, so we have jolts. That's going to be huge for us. That happens intraday, so 30 minutes into the market session. We're going to have to deal with a little bit of fluctuations in price, some whipsawing. Yeah, well, this generally isn't our time to trade anyways. You guys know we like to skip the first hour, let the levels be established, and then take trades off of that. I think this is pretty reminiscent of, us kind of waiting for that Iron Condor, which I'm going to go over today as well. The Iron Condor we saw on Friday. So Wednesday as well. A lot of pre-market news, but then we have one bit of news that's happening intraday, which is the core PCE price index month over month. This is probably going to be really effective on the price, so I bet a lot of people are going to be waiting for this one as well. Not only this is end of month, right? So April 30th, end of the month, we're probably going to get a lot of orders come in from, larger orders from big funds and mutual funds and things like that, to kind of prepare for the next month. So May. So this one, is this going to be a digestion? First of the month? I doubt it. Reason being, unemployment claims is going to be huge. Manufacturing PMI, this again happens intraday. So it doesn't look like this week at all we're going to have any consolidation except for maybe Monday, right? So tomorrow. And the rest of the week, we actually have things happening every day intraday. So whoever likes volatility, this is probably our time. I know a lot of you guys have been struggling with buy side a little bit. right? So we do use that. We kind of attest a lot of this volatility to some of the news. It's also Trump, of course. But if you are uncomfortable trading long options in this environment, there's nothing wrong with going short options, right? Shorting options via credit spreads. There's nothing wrong with trading shares, right? I think you guys have seen leveraged shares you've been able to capture a lot if you're right on direction leveraged share too, and minimize your risk because leveraged shares, they can't go to zero. And then, of course, futures, right? Those are some of the ways we can get away from options volatility, as some of the ways we can get away from overpaying for long options, right? So there's just a lot of different ways for you to navigate the market. You don't have to lock yourself down to just long options. I really want to stress that here in the quantitative community, because the more you know about how to navigate the market and all the different instruments that exist in the market that you can use, the better, right? You're able to pivot, right? Be nimble, pivot your positions, not tie yourself down and be a one-trick pony, right? You want to be able to navigate the market effectively, and that means utilizing multiple instruments to make money in the market. So that's what we have, and then obviously there's way more interest in earnings, though, right? We have some of the Mag 7, actually a lot of the Mag 7 announcing, right? What do we see first off? Couple heavy hitters, not part of the Mag 7. PayPal, Visa is going to be really important. Starbucks, and there's been some news about Starbucks, but I don't think it's that tradable in my opinion. I know there's some interest in the chat for First Solar and Snap, right? First Solar, not for me. I know you guys know I'm a First Solar guy, but as of right now, nothing from First Solar. But then the most important ones are coming up. So post Wednesday. So like Wednesday, we have Microsoft, Robinhood, Meta, right? These are huge. Meta had amazing earnings last time, right? And we just skyrocketed. So who knows? Maybe we get that again. And then we have Amazon and Apple. So those are the big ones. Now, I know that a lot of us like to trade earnings, right? Myself, not so much, especially not in these market environments. I don't want to be assigned any. I think if I do a credit spread, I don't want to be assigned shares. But I want to stress that there's other ways to navigate earnings, right? If you really want to trade earnings, take a look at leveraged shares, right? We did really well last time with Microsoft leveraged shares, right? MSFL. Low risk because it can't go to zero, but man, when those earnings went, like those shares did really, really exceptional. And then the other way, right, is to be really confident, really hunker down and look for those confident options trades. So, for example, I always mention this, but 2 years ago we saw Meta, right, a single order of $100 million in calls. That basically told the story for Meta earnings, right? If you don't see that, if we don't see anything like that, just really manage your risk, right? Really manage your risk. Don't throw your money into the market on a trade that isn't a trade, right? Don't participate because you're just itching to put in money. Now, I don't throw away my money like that. I trade to pay my bills, and so you got to treat the market like that. If you haven't had a good success rate with earnings, there's no reason for you to throw money into the market if again, you don't have a really good idea of what's going to happen. So that's my little bit of tidbit, a little bit of advice, I guess, not financial advice. You can do whatever you want at the end of the day, but earnings is just, I know there's a tendency for beginner traders, not just beginner traders, but traders in general, to throw money at earnings. So there we go. What are we looking at so far for the market this week? Well, if you check on Twitter, a lot of people are going to be mentioning this. I'm going to mention it as well, just because I see the same thing. These two lines right here. So this price point of 57.86 to 58.70, 58.75, just about. What is this? What is this in between? So November 6th. A little bit of interest here, like this level, like before the rise in SPX. Before that as well, though, we actually have quite a bit of room to travel. So I want to take a look at this. So 5,700 around here. Is there any interest here? Now, if we start going into quant data, you can actually kind of see that for the end of this week, May 2nd, what are we seeing? So this is what I have so far, May 2nd. What are we seeing so far? And I want to see like what you guys see, and does it compare to what I see so far for this week? Now again, there are earnings. Again, there's 3-star events, but we know that Delta primarily and Gamma interest usually tell us what's to come, right? For those of us that really have understood this stuff and really studied this stuff. By the way, no spin drift today. Kind of forgot to put some in the fridge, but I got the Starbucks black coffee. I'm starting to drink black coffee because apparently that's what real men drink. And yeah, I don't really like black coffee. I realize now that I drink coffee for the sake of oat milk. And so yeah, I am not a real man apparently. I don't know. It puts hair on your chest. I am Chinese. I don't grow body hair. I don't even grow facial hair. Nothing. Smooth. Man. So yeah, what do we see, man? We see long deltas, long gamma. So this is how we closed, right? We closed on a 2-day rally. SPX did really well. We generally did really well, pushing up above price and having this little bit of a gap up, and now a revisit of these 5700s. Is it possible? Do we think it's possible? Well, at least we see that there's significant interest for 5600, right? Right now we've closed at 55.25. This is pretty good. I would say that this exposure right here for Friday, 1.43 billion so far. If we get this to above 2, we should see there shouldn't be any interest in shorting the market just yet. Now I know on Twitter there's always going to be those doomers, right? What I suggest is really just pay attention to the data, right? We've had a lot of success here in quant data just following the trend of gamma and delta. And so that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed for me. I don't know if it's changed for you. But every time we've seen an opportunity to go long, like a better value long, which means, price comes down a little bit, we just buy it right back up. And then we've just really had a strong momentum going back up, right? So I want to show you, for example, these Iron Condors, these pesky Iron Condors that have been messing with us. Even though the bottom side or the top side, whatever side gets tested, so far this Iron Condor we've continued to test the top side, right? A little bit more than the bottom side. Okay, so this is what we saw on Friday. This is April 25th. This is gamma. This is delta. Let me change this to the 25th. All right, so who had a hard time trading Friday? Let me ask this. Let me ask y'all right now. Who had a hard time trading Friday? What kind of coffee this is? This is just Pike. I don't think they ever asked me. I don't think they ever asked me what I want. I just say black coffee. And then they give it to me. So this is what we have. Let me get stock price in time. This is what we had. Okay. Should we do interval map? Yeah, we could probably do interval map. This is I want to do it for delta though. Or we could actually do net drift. So what is the one thing that we kind of always talk about trying to accomplish in the markets? What do we talk about? Finding clues, right? Finding clues. I don't know how many times I talk about finding clues. Making money? Well, that's not always, right? Only sometimes we make money. So, here we go. So, we talked about how we kind of need to be patient for a lot of the times we get Iron Condors. What is one way that we can trade the Iron Condor days? Is to wait for one side to collapse. Right now we know that the general sentiment for Friday's open, I've seen this right back to Friday open. General sentiment was to the upside, right? Why is that? Is because despite this pesky little short here, all the deltas in front of us and around us are actually long, right? Now we know we struggled. Some of us struggled, myself included. We struggled trading the open all the way through. And this is why I say, if you guys watched my YouTube video, I talked about how on these Iron Condor days, what's the best thing we can do for ourselves is actually to be patient. To be patient and let one side really show us that, okay, the shorts have given up. And I can show you exactly where these shorts gave up. Right? With the data, I can tell you where these shorts gave up. Where do they go? Where do you guys think? In the price range. Just looking at price, what time do you think they gave up? And that we really were able to okay, this is where they gave up. Let's all go long. Right? Those 549 cons, man. SPY 549, man. They went from $1.12 to 172. I know it wasn't crazy, but we were battling against the volatility a little bit. 930, you think 930? So let's go to 930. 930, 9 AM. So we all know what it looked like before. This is what happened at 930. Here's your 930 right here. Now I know one side gave up. We went up a little bit further to 55.30ish. But even before this, I think it was around 920. If I check my journal, we already saw that this side depleted by so much. Right, so being patient. Being patient is just so important. Well, you can see for yourself, what happened. What happened from the open, right? We were targeting 55.45, 55.50. We still see that interest for Delta. Gamma had really started to show, but we saw that, well, look at the open. So from the open to now. Right, here's right back to the open. What do we see? A lot of interest. But then they depleted. This $2 billion just went away. And so at this point, we were like, okay, this is probably going to happen. They have given up their shorts. So you could have waited all day and not traded this mess, which is what we should have done, and just waited for one side to give up. And so I know a lot of you guys journaled that. I did myself as well, because I took 7 trades that day, which is generally unusual for me, right? I'm more of a 3 trade, 4 trade, able to hold something. I like holding positions. I hate scalping, but it seemed like that day we were kind of stuck, right? So Not only was that one clue that one side gave up, but you can also kind of see here, like what happened on net drift. This is one of our favorite indicators, right? We saw that calls and puts were generally, like, just take your mouse and just go over it, right? You can see for yourself. Calls and puts, right? Puts reign supreme all the way until one side. We actually got positive finally. From here, people sold calls right away. And then we went all the way to around 8-ish. And what do you see different from 8 onwards? Sorry, 8:39-ish, 8:40. Not only did it cross over, but what happened to puts? So at the peak of puts, you can see that puts were 3.68 million in premium. Okay? So track these, right? Track these numbers. 3.68 million. Calls were 1.36. Now puts started to sell off. What happened? 10 minutes more. We're now only at, oh, sorry. I don't know who's ringing my doorbell. 3.27. So what happened? They sold off. They started to sell off some of their puts, right? And they started to they continued to sell off until this point right here. What do we see? 2.7 million each, even. What's your bet now? What is your bet? It just touched. We just contracted. We just touched, right? And one side, which side is going to win? Right? We got the crossover, and you can see right here. Now we're getting 500,000 more on calls versus puts. Puts continue to sell, right? So this is why I always talk about looking for clues. That's all you're doing as a trader. You're just looking for clues to give you the most, sorry, not the most, but looking for clues to give you the idea of what's the most likely scenario to happen for price based on what we're seeing, right? Those 4 questions. Number 1, what's the most likely scenario for price based on what you're seeing? Well, what we're seeing at this point, right, 9:20, this is how we're being patient. So 3 hours into the market, 9:20. Calls now surpass puts. Okay, what else do we see at 9:20? Gamma interest for calls have really began to rise, and the put side just depleted, right? The put side from the open was over 2 billion in negative delta. It is now only 400. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the majority of their shorts have bought it back. They're giving up. They're like, no, we're not going to short this no more. Let's just let the market go. I know we had this little bit of a dip, but what happened here? This is all Trump, so we can't really say anything about 3-star events, right? Trump started to say some words about China, as he always does. And then we went down. But I want to show you like how I know some of you guys caught this long as well, just went long right away again, is because despite this drop, so 10:54 a.m. is when the drop stopped. What do you see? Here's your 10:54 a.m. What do you see generally? We see that the interest for upside is still there. So I know I always talk about catching the right side of the V, right? You never want to be on the wrong side of the V, so you probably would have caught it at 10:57. Let's just go straight to 11. Like, what does 11 look like? Does it look pretty strong? Does it look pretty reasonable that we come back to the upside? What do we think? Like, based on the exposures here. Right? Because look, right here. 5 million, and then we start to deplete again on puts. Even on that drift. Right? So that's the idea. That's the idea. Just using the data to tell you the most likely scenarios for price. We saw that, right at 920 about that put side collapse. We started to climb up. Even with this flush through, right, even with Trump speaking, we saw that, okay, as soon as he finished, there was still interest in calls. Like the call side still remained. And so the idea would be that we climb back up. Now, I know the day was, we only had 2 hours left in the day. We had some potholes above us. Whether you wanted to take that trade or not, totally up to you. But this is how we were able to know that, okay, like just this little flush doesn't mean the day is over. We're not closing red on the day, right? I also know that this was a VWAP touch on ES, so that's another point of entry for anyone who trades the VWAP strategy. Yeah, so question here, are there times where the sides don't go away? Absolutely. There are definitely times where either side doesn't go away. And those days are either a sell day, you either copy their trade or try to by selling contracts outside of their areas of interest, or you don't trade. And there's been days last year, this year not so much, but there's been days last year where we've seen the big Iron Condor, and then you'll see me sit here all day and not take a single trade because there's no direction, right? Or you see me sit here and I attempt to try to sell outside of those ranges, right? Selling outside of the MVCs has been, always a really good strategy for me. But you wouldn't see me long options at all, or take any sort of directional futures or leverage shares trades. Hope that answers your question. That's kind of all I have going into today. Want to brush up on that Iron Condor day, and then I just wanted to show you as well that the market for Friday looks to be bullish, but of course be nimble. Be on your toes. We don't really know until earnings, but so far, like this 5650 does have my interest. This 5650, 5600 area, for whatever reason, is lit up like a Christmas tree. And if we're to believe it, well, let's see, right? We could absolutely see something pretty interesting on that day. So far, that's all I got. So 5:33. I don't know if I'm going to run this whole thing for an hour, but we'll see. Any questions from you guys? Opening up the floor now to some Q&A. Any questions about quant data or any questions about, the market in general or trading? Happy to help. Quant data, well, we have Boston and we have Jacob here in the chat. Hope you guys are having a good weekend as well. So I know I don't know how many questions I've gotten so far about people asking me, oh, William, who are you voting for? Are you voting liberal? Are you voting conservative? I'm almost about to say I'm going to vote NDP or Green Party and just throw away my vote. Because that's... I don't know if you guys, if anyone Canadians are actually checking, but man, there's only two. It's only liberals and conservative that are even close to the running. The NDP is like falling off a cliff. Green Party has like 0.3%. I don't know why they ever run. It makes no sense. Is anyone ever going to vote for Green Party? I don't know, man. I don't know. Be here asking, I'm going to sign up for the free trial. How do I use your filters? So I posted, actually on my Twitter, I pinned my screen. I don't know if my screen, I pinned my filters. The only one I filter for is net drift. This is the only filter I have. This one is, it's public, but I'll say that I haven't been using it as much. You can find them here. So it's public filter groups. Find ABJ Tech 500K, and then you'll find this filter. This is only for the order flow. Again, I don't really use this as much as I used to. I'm working on developing some new ones, and then once I have them really ironed out, I'll share them. But I don't have them yet. And then net drift. This one is pinned on my Twitter, so you can find it for yourself. The most valuable contract strategy, is there somewhere I can learn that? Yes, it's on my YouTube channel. You can search up NBC. It's also on Quant Data's YouTube channel. That's a strategy that I use myself, and you can learn about it there. Aside from just learning like how to use it, you should actually make sure you understand like what it represents in the market. Because a lot of people they trade or like they look for the MVC, but they don't actually understand what it represents, and then so they actually don't know what it is they're looking for. So that's what I'll preface that with. That's for you, Danielle. AJ, since you trade for a living, do you get anxious, nervous if you don't make a trade in a day, or if you don't hit your? That's a really good question, Vito. So full transparency, Quantita does pay me. So they do pay me. I can't really say I'm like purely making income from trading anymore, like I did since 2022 to 2024. That was my full-time trading journey wasn't that long. So I was full-time from July of 2022, a month after I got married, up until Quantita picked me up, which was like last year. So yeah, again, good question. I think that if you have the couple things. So if you have income from a job, that should really deplete your anxiousness and your nervousness. Like it should be at a low because you still have something that pays you. You still have income. It's not like you're gonna die if you don't trade, right? But if you are looking for that full time, I think when you put yourself in a position where you have to trade, like you have to make a trade today, otherwise you're not gonna eat. I don't think that's a good situation to put yourself in. When I was full-time trading, I had a fair bit of savings. I also had my wife who was very supportive and willing to pay the bills if she needed to. Again, but we did have savings as well. So I was able to survive on red months, red weeks. But yeah, that daily goal shouldn't really exist anymore, in my opinion. You really split up that daily into a monthly goal. So I know you guys know like 800 is kind of my general target for the day. But if I don't hit 800 today, I make sure that I make up for it throughout the week. And then so I have a monthly goal, right? And if I don't hit that monthly goal, I'll start to dig into my journal because that's really important. Dig into your journal, find out which days you're performing poorly, which trade setups are performing poorly. And then eventually you'll be able to build your A+ setups. Once you have that confidence in the market, you don't get nervous or anxious. That is, you have to train in the market like an athlete. Really train hard and does like Kobe Bryant or one of those guys, Steph Curry, everyone's favorite basketball player. Does he get nervous when he steps on the court? No, because he understands that he's gonna kill it. Right? When he steps into the court. It's the same thing for you stepping into the market. Do I get nervous about trading? No, because I'm confident. I know that I have a high likelihood of success the moment the market opens to make money. And so if you're not there yet, to get rid of that is actually paper trading and to really understand your journal. So I ask you, Vito, right here, are you journaling? Are you journaling effectively? Because some people journal, but they actually aren't making it effective. They're just writing a bunch of stuff in. But what does it actually mean? What does it actually mean when you journal? I have a video on my YouTube called Effective Journaling. It really helped me develop my A+ setups. And I learned it from my previous mentors. That's how they journaled. And so I just kind of took the same principles and did the same thing. If you're not focused on making sure that you have a set of guidelines for your best trades, that's what leads to that nervousness. So I know that was a long-ended answer, but hopefully it helped you. What's your biggest advice to staying consistent over several months with relatively similar profits throughout different months? Biggest advice to staying consistent? Well, if you're already having relative similar profits throughout the different months, you're already consistent. I think this kind of leads to you wanting to size up, right? As long as you are paying yourself, I know you're trading props there, Swayze. So if you're making sure you're paying yourself a consistent amount, then just make a goal of when's the next time to size up, and then I think that consistency should remain. The consistency shouldn't change based on dollar value. If you're consistent, you're consistent. Hopefully that helps you out there. I think it should. So I know I'm excited to see your progress in trading, man. That's for sure. T here asking, where can I get a better understanding of quant data? I'm still new and learning and to use Gamma. Tasty Trade, one of my favorite. Tasty Trade is one of my favorite educational resources. It is absolutely free. You can find them on YouTube. A lot of their studies are really good. They have real life examples of studies, and so I think even before you subscribe to Quant or any sort of service options order flow platform, you should first understand everything you can about options. And I kind of equate this to, do you buy a car before you get your driver's license? Right? So in that sense, like, should you trade options before you understand everything there is about options? Right? The answer should be no, you should not trade options if you don't understand what options are. A lot of people I ask, I'll get a lot of people in the chat sometimes. They'll be like, what's theta? I'm going to buy SPY calls, but what's theta? Should you buy SPY calls then? Does that make any sense to you? Hopefully not. Right, so Tasty Trade, Investopedia, really great resources. They're both free. Another resource that I've found that has been pretty good is BMO. So BMO, I'll type that as well. BMO trading resource. It's free. They're a bank. Investopedia. These are really great free resources. If you are trying to understand options and Gamma, don't fast track it. There's no speed runs here. If you start to throw your money into the market and not understanding Gamma, not understanding Delta and Theta, there are people in the market who will gladly take your money. Like me. I'll take your money, man. It's all good. What would you say the top 3 tools on quant data? In what order? Ooh. Exposure by strike. Say exposure by strike. Net drift. Interval map. I know it's new, but it has very quickly become one of our favorites. So these are my top 3 in order. Okay. Exposure by strike. This is the one that I've been using primarily, for MVC, understanding where support and resistance is at any given time. I know interval map. Some people have started to replace this exposure by strike with interval map completely. I haven't found that to be as good. I think you need to have both up. And the reason is because, for example, this is on a 3-minute aggregation period. This changes every second. And so I need to see that live view of where things are changing. Like, what if 10 seconds from now something changes? Well, then is that still a target for price then? Or are we waiting for things to settle? Right, so that's the idea. That's why I like exposure by strike more than interval map. Net drift is generally useless unless you filter for it, right? So I know you guys really like net drift, but understanding what it is you're looking for in the flow is going to help you so much. And without filtering it's definitely not a number 2. But the moment you start to filter it, that's when it becomes very, very, very useful. Right? Again, the filters that I've made is specific for SPX. You can do any filter you want. Just make sure you know what it is you're looking for. And then number 3 would be interval map. So number 3 is going to be this one. Over time, we can see like where exposures have changed and where exposures have gone stronger or weaker. So there you go. That's my answer for you, sir. Thank you. Oh, of course, no problem. We'll be releasing alerts and notifications, says Jacob. Can't wait for that. What's the YouTube channel? Quantitative LLC. There you go. And to me, it means how to understand my losses came and how to overcome them for the next trade. 100%, man. Swayze, congratulations. There you go. Past that 50K. What does interval map do? There's a really good article there. Okay, so we posted it. Perfect. Give that a read. How does put volume on the bottom of net drift be higher but calls were more elevated than puts on top of the graph? I've been trying to understand that. So I'll be fully honest here. The net volume. Oh, this is not like volume, by the way. This is people buying. This is buying and selling of overall options contracts. So if you're looking at this to be like more puts are coming through, it's actually not. Actually not the case at all. It's actually showing that people are selling more options than buying. So I don't pay attention too much to this one here. Because I've already filtered for the top. I've already filtered for what it is that I want to see, which is are 0DTE calls or puts being purchased more? Does that make sense to you, Peepon? Hopefully it does. So again, I'm not really focused on down here. Some people use it. I know what it represents, but it's not something that I'm paying attention to. I'm purely paying attention to here. The line, the green and red line, because I want to see, again, at which point do calls reign supreme over puts, and then puts reign supreme over calls. That's all kind of all I'm interested in. The selling and buying of calls and puts, doesn't really matter to me. On a larger time frame, maybe it should, but again, I've filtered this for 0 days. Yeah, hey, good session so far. Really good session so far. I appreciate all the questions. I'm definitely very excited for this week. I think that we should have a ripper week. I think that we should have a really exciting Amazon and Apple earnings. I know you guys know, like, the majority of my net worth is based on this single stock. So we'll see. We'll see if ABJ gets to eat dinner or not that day. We'll see. I found that so far, these blue chips, I might be willing to sell puts naked and then see if I get assigned. If I get assigned more shares, I don't mind. But yeah, we're focused on the 0 days here, and I think that there's going to be definitely opportunities. My first initial thoughts for Monday is probably that we're going to do a whole lot of nothing. Again, why is because, well, Monday there's no news. I think that because there's nothing really moving the market, it's either going to be a surprise trend day or a whole lot of nothing, and I'm willing to bet that it's probably more beneficial to sell spreads on Monday. So we'll see how we want to participate. We'll see. As always, though, we'll follow the data. The data will tell us whether we go up or down on that day. It tells us every day what's the most likely scenario. So go figure. It's the easiest way to participate in the market, guys. I've never seen an easier way. What about that North Korea news? And I mean, I think the war is kind of, I don't want to say played out, but I don't think it's big enough. I don't think it's as big as tariffs, for example. We've already had news about like Russia stepping down or Russia starting to call for ceasefire, talking about peace. Every time those conversations have happened, nothing's happened in the markets as of late, right? What's actually moved the markets more? Tariffs. Just tariffs. That one singular word has moved the market tremendously. And so I think the interest is there, right? At each given time, there's going to be different trigger words for the market. And I don't think war in North Korea is part of it right now. Question from EcoDaddy. ABJ, is your heat map tool default setting? Heat map? I don't really use heat map that much. For intraday, I use the heat map more so for swinging trades. But I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't swung in a while. Like this year, barely. There's been barely any swing trades. Reason being is because I want this tariff stuff to get settled first. Interval map. Okay. So I do 3 minute. I found that to be kind of the sweet spot. And then 15 strike padding. This gives me a lot more strikes to look at, especially with the volatility. So the strike padding, you can reduce it if you want, like to 5. But I personally found that when IV is really high, you actually do need to look at more strikes. So for example, IV right now has been hovering above 30% for God knows how long. So that means the range of the day is much higher. Right? So if the range is much higher, then you definitely want to have a higher strike pattern so you can see more strikes as to where the interest is in the market. 3 minute is a little shorter than 5 minutes, right? I know 5 minutes is a lot of people trade out the 5 minute. I just want to see more data as time goes on, and 1 minute was just too much. 1 minute was too much. 5 minute was too little. So I found 3 minute to be the sweet spot. So again, that's just my preference. All the stuff that you're asking is kind of preference based. So make sure you try for yourself to make sure that you find a good sweet spot for you. I know it also takes more processing power. So if you have a bad computer, probably not going to help you as much. But if you've got an Alienware like me, then you're golden. On my consolidated order flow, what filters you have selected? It's a lot. So flag filters are there. And then I'll show you this. I mean, this is a lot, so. I mean, you can kind of just find ABJ Tech 500K. You can find it. Because I'm not going to list out everything. It's too much to list out. Apollon joined late for that. Well, welcome. Was Iron Condor discussed already or not? I did discuss it. Good thing this thing will be recorded, and I'll post it up for everyone later on the YouTube channel. So if you want to learn about that Iron Condor, just watch it later on YouTube. I'll post it tonight. Got about 7 minutes left here. Maybe shorter. Depends. If there's nothing, there's nothing. But again, this week it's going to be all about earnings, all about these 3-star events. Monday's a Digestion Monday. There's a whole lot of nothing. Let's see Monday. Is there anything earnings related? No, not really. MGM. I mean, I know. Vegas is hurting right now, but it's already before the open, so we'll see what happens there. Not so much of anything afterwards. We're really just waiting for Tuesday. So going forward with Tuesday is going to be it's going to be an interesting week. Let's see. No problem, my friend. Always happy to help you there, sir. If you guys are enjoying the quant data community and the quant data, how we do things, feel free to support our socials. Go on our YouTube, go on our Twitter, our Instagram, like our stuff, retweet, share, comment. I don't know. Give us testimonials. That helps us too. We're always looking for more so we can post that up on social media. Yeah, the things we do here, all free. We don't pay gate these streams for a reason because we believe in communitoire. Right? We want to see people succeed before they start giving us money. If you want to give me money, for sure, just let me know. Send you my link to. Okay, I'm not going to say it. No, I have nothing to subscribe to though. I don't sell anything. Just let y'all know. If anyone ever messages you and goes, "Oh, ABJ is going to trade for me. He wants me to buy his crypto coin." No, dude, I don't sell nothing. Yeah, I hope you guys find this refreshing. Because there's so many thirsty discords, thirsty platforms that always ask you hey, you gotta pay up, man. You want my top tier 97% win rate signals, dude? Pay up today. Pay me today. And then it's just, they ask you for pocket change, which is like, what? If you're such a successful trader, why do you need my $25 a month? I'm confused. I am confused, sir. Question everything. Question everything. Spin drift. Yes, I need it. Dude, I might have to make another run down to Seattle, but I don't know about these tariffs, man. I don't know about these tariffs. If I come down to Seattle, buy spin drift, and then I bring it back and they tax me, I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to be so pissed. You taxing me on my spin drift? What the heck? This is my lifeblood, sir. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. You know, bullish for the week. Again, let me show you really quick for those guys that are just tuning in. The market is primed for 5650, 5600. Currently, we're trading at 5525. Now, I do suspect if we do break through 5600, okay, which is where all the interest is for this Friday, this should hold as a very good support. And then 5650 would not be out of the question. I believe right now these long deltas are showing us that we should be okay for the market so far. Would I get aggressive? Sort of. Maybe thinking about it. You know, if we get an opportunity to sell below 5,500, to sell below 5,400 this week with over 1 billion in long deltas, I might be interested. I might be interested in doing that. We'll have to see. Yeah, so this is 30th. That's end of month. But it's really nice to see like end of month. End of week be so bullish here. There's definitely interest for upside. So that's it. I don't think there's any questions left so far. Bullish for Monday. Well, Monday is kind of a dead zone. Right, so far it's bullish, but anything can change. 55.50 is kind of piquing our interest there. But again, Monday is a digestion Monday. No news, no significant earnings. So we either trend or we chop. I'm suspecting maybe a little bit of upside, right? And then chop. Because, I mean, where are we trading right now? Right, we're trading at 55.25. I don't know if we're going to gap down or gap up. But we only have 25 points to get to 55.50. Is that a lot of movement? No. So if there's not that much interest for upside, like it's only 25 points, right? If there's not that much, then we might not get a whole lot. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.